early good morning from Pueblo, Colorado. Um, Not as early as it was when myself and Miranda actually first got online. Miranda is in Japan, and
Yeah,
it's, of course,
on
the
the
end
other
of her
side of the
day. It's the
world.
beginning of our day. But and that's where our personal worlds actually collide because that's my second home. So, but I'm in Pueblo and Miranda is in Japan. So we'll be switching places back and forth. In fact, the screen behind me is one of my favorite early morning photos that I took right at the old Homura port on the island of Naoshima, which is in the inland sea just off the shore from Honshu, near Okayama and Uno. And then, of course, you can go to Takamatsu on the island of Shikoku. But it was just such a gorgeous, quiet morning. Of course, everyone's asleep except for the farmers and the fishermen. So this is one of my early morning references. And so Miranda Cisneros, I want you first to tell everyone your story. And that, of course, would include your Pueblo story, your Japan story. But most importantly, this is a special episode of Voices of Pueblo. And this is part of the 45 Degrees series. So Miranda is one of those very special people that we have in Pueblo that actually perform creative genius at a 45-degree angle and is part of the team that is completing the new Levee mural. And very soon, it looks like it's amazing how fast you guys are working. But it looks like we
It
will
is.
move towards that world record again. And then I know Cynthia wants to go well beyond that so that, we can, kind of rest in our glory for a little bit longer instead of having to compete with a Korean or Ukrainian or wherever those other murals should be. But I'm going to give
There's no
you the
doubt in my
floor
mind that
now.
we'll reach that goal.
Yeah, I think so. Well, I'm amazed how fast it's all happening. So,
It
so yes,
is. There's a
Miranda,
lot of people interested in the project. So,
give us your
um,
story.
okay, well, my name is Miranda, and I go by Smile Sunflower. I create my art from the spirit, energy. I'm inspired by nature. I also consider myself a healer. I come from healers. My father's family is from New Mexico, and so I spent a lot of time between Colorado and New Mexico growing up. Uh, I'm very proud of my New Mexican heritage, and I
Where in New
feel
Mexico? Where in New Mexico? Where's
northern New
northern?
Mexico,
Okay.
Taos, New Mexico,
Yep.
Cuesta,
Oh my gosh.
and my mother's family is from Ocate, New
Yeah.
Mexico, which is
Yep.
in
Yep.
Moore County.
Yes.
And yeah, so they're kind of spread out, and also Espanola as well. We have some
I
family
love
there.
Espanola because of the lowriders. The lowrider culture
Uh,
there is amazing. And now that Santa Fe allows the lowriders in the parade, I mean, that is an amazing place. And in
it
fact,
is, it is. It's got a lot
I
of
mean,
good music. My cousin, Casey Gallegos, he's the
mhm,
president of the Hispano Music Awards.
yeah,
So we go there every year. It's a yearly thing
right.
that the family goes to. Um, yeah, we have a lot of great people living there, and I'm proud to say that I'm from there. I'm not from there,
Right,
but my roots are
right.
from there, and I
Your
feel connected to
lineage,
that
yeah,
land.
your lineage
My
comes from
lineage,
that, and it's
yes,
amazing.
yes,
Yeah, and
exactly.
it's amazing how it's one of those moments where, first of all, when I tell people that Pueblo was the international boundary to France, Spain, Mexico, and the Republic of Texas, people they just think I'm crazy. But then, of course,
Oh,
you understand the Arkansas River, and all of a sudden, yes, in fact, we're a borderland area. But New Mexico I mean, the land grants. I mean, going back
yeah,
hundreds of years. I mean, it's the good, the
yes,
bad, and the ugly, and the messy, most importantly. But the history is really extraordinary. When you say Taos, I mean, those places that are up at those elevations, I mean, the churches, the houses, the farms, the ranches. I mean, they knew what they were
Yeah.
doing, before Europeans came over, because they were doing dry agriculture. They were doing everything right with the right grains. And then, of course, the Spaniards come over from Spain, telling all the indigenous people that they're doing it wrong. And it's just,
Right.
oh,
Right.
so,
Well,
but that's great.
history, it is great. It's a beautiful culture, very beautiful. I'm very proud of my heritage,
Yeah, that's great.
and I feel like I need to embrace it more in my art.
Mhm,
So I have been lately. I've been embracing my heritage in my art.
mhm.
Before I was kind of trying to figure out who I was, and I'm finally to a place where I understand who I am and who I'm not.
Right.
I'm
That's important.
definitely not a Yeah, I'm definitely not a commercial artist. I am a spiritual artist.
Mhm.
I am a teacher. I am a writer, and I am a healer.
And when you say healing, and you mentioned earlier that was also part of your family's, the gifts that your family has. Um, I mean, when you say healing, because now more than ever, some of these indigenous cultures really understood the land. They understood the all of the plants, the flora, the fauna, everything. I mean, they knew where to find the necessary ingredients for whatever they were dealing with at that time, and much of it passed down through the generations. Were they any particular? I mean, because there's so many different ways to heal someone depending upon the individual and the situation.
Yes, my fifth generation great grandmother was a healer,
Hmm.
and she was also a leader of women. She I'm still learning about her, so
Hmm.
I don't have a whole lot of information on her yet.
Where are you
But she
getting the
was also
information? Where are you getting? Do you have? Are there
I
records or stories?
from records,
Okay.
records and stories, and also we have a portrait of her as well.
Oh wow.
So my grandmother told me stories, and I've
Okay.
always been fascinated with her portrait. Whenever I visit my parents, I
Right.
always sit in front of it and just it's very. I feel like she is me, or I
Right.
am her. I can't
Is she
explain it, but
speaking?
I
Is she
feel
speaking to you?
connected.
I mean, there's
Yes,
there's that ancestor kind of worshiping, of those spirits before us. They're always around, but the portrait is a big deal because we can talk about the portrait, and it's interesting because we ourselves as humans never get to see ourselves in that way ever. I mean, we never get to see ourselves like that. That's
right.
only through, the third party. But um, I can understand that completely. As a younger person, you certainly will recognize things in your home, your grandparents, your aunts and uncles, and certain things are kind of elevated. They're special. They're sacred. And when there's a
Right.
portrait of, first of all, a portrait is a big deal in any family.
It is. It is.
Because why? I mean,
Especially in
why do you
the
have a portrait?
mhm.
Um,
And that
but
was in the
that's
early
fascinating.
1900s.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Was
it
it
is.
haunting or was it happy? Was it because the
She's a
lives at
she
that
has a
time were
I
hard.
think she was about in her she passed when she was about 58. I think she lived to
Oh,
be
so
about
she was young.
58. She was.
Oh my gosh.
Um, I think it was in her last part of life, but she has
Okay.
a very serious look on her face.
Hmm.
Very serious, no
Yeah.
smile, just very
Right.
serious, but not, I don't know, it's just kind of like very deep
Right.
seriousness
Yeah.
in that
So
portrait, I feel.
yeah. Well,
And I want
and
to know more about her. So
right. So you need
but
to, and I'm gonna see. Yeah.
going back to my you asked about myself as a healer,
Right.
like how like we were talking about different kinds of healing before. Um, so for myself, when I say that I'm a healer, I don't mean like by medicine or by, I mean through my paintings.
Right, right.
My goal in my art is to be able to give the viewer a sense of healing. So, for
Hmm.
example, there was one
Right.
uh, time where I remember this very clearly. I painted on a surfboard, and the so there was a professional surfer that had come to one of my art shows, and there was
Mhm.
this port. I actually have it over here. That the painting that he really liked. He
Right.
he must have stared at it for like at least an hour, and
Really?
he just looked at it and looked at it
Wow.
and kept. And I thought, well, maybe I better go talk to him. So I did,
Yeah.
and he
Is
said
he okay?
he said "Yasarimashita,"
Yeah.
which means I'm healed.
Right.
He said
Right.
that to me, and at that time he was going through some stuff, some personal
Right.
stuff, and so he ended up uh, giving me one of his surfboards to paint on
Hmm.
because he liked my art so much.
Right.
And that was a really good thing for me to see that that my art
Right.
affects people differently from here, from America. Everybody sees it differently because
Right.
I always have that abstract. It's always abstract, but
Right. Right.
I'm trying to get away from that to do a little bit more, what you would say in Japanese, wakariasui, more
What good do you see? Yeah.
wakariasui,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yep.
wakariasui mono, like a more breaking, like
Kind of
a
self-evident.
one point
Self-evident.
image and
Yeah.
breaking it up in the background with like
Right.
abstract background or something.
Right.
So I've been trying to do more of that, like more, because it's interesting though. I feel like a lot of people in Japan are a lot more
Hmm.
attracted to my abstract art
Hmm. Hmm.
than people in the US.
Hmm.
I
That's
feel that
interesting.
way.
I'm really fascinated about this surfboard because it's such a beautiful example. And if you think about what a surfboard is, when you're actually using it in the water, whether you're paddling or whether you're standing up, I mean, that is the foundation. That board becomes, that which you are able to surf or to, paddle. Um, and that's kind of one of those really kind of sacred, if you're a surfer, my brother, my sister, they surfed. It's very, very sacred, not only just going to church, as they would say, out to the waves, but the board itself says a lot about, you as an individual. And the fact that there was something about this abstract painting that this person looked at, that they felt the need to have that on something that they possessed and that they cherished. It's on top of your car, it's in a rook, it's everywhere in the sand. It's like your name, when you think about what a board actually does. And of course, if you're
Right.
professional, then there's you can amplify that narrative so much further because it has such greater reach. But what a wonderful way to and trusting, to let you tell a story, and do you still keep in touch with that person?
He came to my exhibition that I had. I had a solo exhibition, when was it? Around the same time, right before had the one at the Heritage Museum.
Okay.
So, probably back in 2021, maybe. That was the last time I
So right
saw him, but
around the
he's always
pandemic.
so busy. Yeah, he's
Yeah.
so busy traveling all over, uh, sponsorships. I
Right.
mean, he just doesn't have much time, but it was nice that he came down to see my art, and
Yeah.
it was good to catch up with him. Also, about surfing, that's pretty much what attracted me to where I'm at now, here in
Really.
on the Pacific coast of
Right.
Chiba. When I
Right.
came here, especially Onjaku Beach. I don't know if you've
Yeah.
ever been there, but
Yes, I
Onjaku
have. Yeah.
Beach
Yep.
it's got the white sand, it's
Yep.
got the history with the song that was written
Mhm.
about the camels,
Yep.
the prince and the princess. It's got like this mystery to it,
Hmm.
and the water has this. clarity to it, when you're in the water and you could see to the bottom. And I
Right.
just love those days. And I love watching the fish in the waves and the
Right. Right.
schools
Right.
of fish. I get so excited, or the big Saba jumping up. Oh, Saba, Saba.
Right. Right.
Sorry, mackerel jumping over
Yep.
there in the distance. I get really excited. And I have no fear, really.
Hmm.
But I don't surf anymore. I do
Hmm.
bodyboarding now.
Okay. Yeah.
But I started out surfing, and but I understand the feeling of the surfer mindset, like
Right.
typhoon time. They're
Yeah.
so excited. Yay, the swells,
Yes.
typhoon swells. Yay, yay,
My
yay. I'm
brother's
surfing the
looking at the
swell.
satellite every day. Satellite every day.
But, there's other people are like, oh, it's a typhoon. Oh no, my plants, It's like, but surfers are like, yeah, it's so exciting. So
Swells, 12 footers.
I
No,
try to take more,
yeah. No, no, I get that
yeah,
completely.
I try
Well, this is
to follow their logic more than the other
right.
side. I feel
Right.
it's a good way to be. It's a good way of life, the
Yeah.
surfer mindset.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, my brother, said they were going to church. That's what they did. That was their form of communion. It was their form of community, was going to those places where only God drops those swells, and those waves on a pattern, and I mean, you think about it all, it's kind of amazing because, Mother Nature just keeps pumping them out as long as you're there, and you've
Yeah,
got the swell, you're going to be busy,
but
I mean, doing your thing.
right. But it's also, like you can't, the thing about surfing and about the good wave energy is that it's not always there.
That's for sure.
So
Oh my, well, and
it's
it
kind of
shouldn't
like
always be there.
going back to what you said before about
Yeah.
being in the moment, and
Mhm.
you just, when you get the chance, you don't want to miss it. Like you said about the
Right.
flowers before that bloom only
Right.
once. You don't
Exactly.
want
I
to
mean,
miss the good wave. You don't
no,
want to miss.
right.
You don't want to miss that sunset surf or that
Right.
sunrise surf. It's the
No
last
two
chance.
waves are the same. They're never the same. No two
Exactly.
waves are the same. And if you're up there with five other guys or girls, you got to just make sure that your nose just tips just ahead of all of the others so that you get, because, at the end of the day, that's where all the magic is. And then the rest is up to
It
your skill set.
is.
If
It
that is the
is.
wave at
Yeah.
that moment and you just go. I mean, I love it when they disappear and they're gone, for what seems like, a minute or two, but it's only just seconds. And then they pop out, through the other end. Um,
Yeah.
well, I love this introduction to first of all, just this morning, your evening, Japan, Pueblo, talking about the arts and healing and wellness and nature. I mean, I think all of those things, as you've said, resonate. But tell me a little bit about your Pueblo experience and why you felt that the Levee mural was a calling for you. Had you painted on the earlier version of the Levee mural, or was this the first time?
No, it was my first time. And actually, my brother is the one that encouraged me in the beginning. He suggested to me, you should paint a mural on the levee. He said that quite a number of years back, and it
Right.
was kind of stuck in my head. And then Cynthia and I had a conversation back when I was there for my exhibition at the Heritage Museum in 2022. But she caught me right as I was leaving back to Japan.
Uh-huh.
And so I told her, okay, well, I'm not going to be able to do a mural now, but I'm
Right.
interested in the future. So let's
Right.
revisit this when I get back.
Okay.
So I came back in 2024. Wait, 2024? Yeah. So December, I came back in December, the
Mhm.
middle of December. I came back right before Christmas,
Mhm.
and then I was there, and I was only going to be there for a couple of months,
Mhm.
and I had no intentions of doing any art, to be honest with
Right.
you. I just wanted
Right.
to go see family and just
Right.
work, a little bit. but I ended up getting all these uh, opportunities. The first
Right.
opportunity was to have I had a group show with Randy Ford at the Fuel and Iron.
Yeah.
Um, and that was a really that was just like suddenly I didn't have
Right.
much time to prepare for that. So
Right.
it was that was in March, and then right after
Right.
that I had an event. I was supposed to do it alongside John Hawtrey. I don't know if you
Right.
know John
Yes.
Hawtrey.
Yes.
He's
Yeah.
a local musician, but
Yes.
he ended up having some medical scares, so
Right.
he had to cancel. But we were supposed to do a an event at the Abriendo Inn,
Hmm.
but John couldn't do it, so
Hmm.
another band came in and
Right.
they were amazing. I wish I could Smith and Taylor.
Yes.
Smith and Taylor,
I remember when Kim
absolutely
was sharing me the
phenomenal
schedule.
music.
Yeah. Yeah. No, they're
Absolutely
great.
phenomenal.
Yeah.
They are phenomenal people as well. And
Right.
so it and then again and then after that somehow Cynthia convinced me, well, let's submit some designs. Okay, well,
Right.
I'll do it. So I did. I submitted
Had
and
you
then
done any traditional murals like on the side of a building or on a fence or anything like that? Had you done those kind of murals before?
yes, I've done
Okay.
murals. I've done a mural in South Korea. I've done one in
Okay.
Mexico. Cancun, Mexico. I've done one in a couple of them, three of them here in Japan.
Okay.
So
Are you like
one of
Tim
them,
on that circus? The Dutch guy who just finished his mural, he travels around the world. He's the podcast just before this one, and he
oh,
just
okay.
did it's a three-dimensional little kid fishing with a pole going into the
Okay,
water.
yes.
But Tim goes around the world every year and he hunts for these festivals, these mural festivals. And he's a filmmaker too. I was just curious because it sounds like you could go to a globe or a map and you can start pointing and pinning where all your murals are. So
Well,
he does the same thing.
yeah,
Yeah.
I definitely want to do more. I
Okay.
feel like I need to do more, but
Okay. Well, that's a good
um,
calling.
I have no fear, and when I
Hmm.
went to Mexico, actually, I was determined to go paint. I absolutely
Right.
was determined to go paint. It was the Cancun Street Art. That's the name
Right.
of their Instagram. I contacted the director,
Hmm.
and his name is Tona Tiu, and we just call him Tona.
Right.
I said, hey, I want to paint with you guys. And so he said, "Yeah, come on down." So he gave me the information, and it was happened to be like way in the neighbor, like way far away from the resort.
Right.
And my mom was, my parents were with me, and my mom
Right.
was like nervous about it. She was pacing back and forth. I don't want you to go. I was like, you know what? I'm gonna go. I have to
Wow.
go.
Right. Right.
So I
I'm
went,
never going
and
to
even
see
the
my
taxi
child again.
driver. Yeah, well, even the taxi
Yeah.
driver was asking me, "Are you sure you want to go to Las Colonias? You want to go to
Oh
Las
God.
Colonias?" He kept saying, I said,
Right.
"Yes, just I want to go. I want to go. Let me go. I want to
Right.
go. Yeah, take me there." And then he took me, and then he didn't want to leave me.
So he was watching out
I
for
had
you
to
too.
explain, "Hey, I'm
Right.
fine. Don't worry. I got a ride back.
Right.
Don't worry."
Right.
So then I paid him. He finally left. But it took a minute. It took him a minute
Right.
he was very
He was
hesitant to leave
taking
me
some
there.
ownership. He was taking some ownership there for fear that you might never return.
But it turned out to be one of the most amazing days ever.
Hmm.
I painted alongside another artist named Wheat from Belgium.
Yeah.
And I didn't have a plan or anything. I just did I just did my abstract style that day. I didn't have a plan or like,
Right.
like I did for the
Right.
mural in
You didn't have to
Pueblo.
submit drawing for approval or
Yeah,
anything like
I just
that.
did, I
Abstract.
represented, so in Mexico, my mural was representing what was it, Japan and New Mexico. I did
Oh, that's
representation
wild.
for both countries. Yeah, I thought, yeah, it was.
I could see where those two would go together nicely, especially with your roots, with just your sensibility, with nature, and with healing and the arts and all of that.
Hmm.
Because both Japan and New Mexico, for that matter, which is like another country, especially in
It
this part of
is.
the US, we really, I mean, we almost need visas, to go to New Mexico, because it feels that way, Um, so this then
Yeah.
was the first time that you'd done anything at 45 degrees.
Yeah. Oh,
And
yeah.
one of
That's
the
my first
things that
45 degree.
we talk about this because everyone has a different experience, and they approach it differently. I'm curious, because now with the new levee, now they have all of the hooks and everything all anchored, from top, and you can really take advantage of some serious, infrastructure that's safe, it's secure, it's a tether, but you know how did you approach it? Because I've heard everything from I went rock climbing for, so many days, or I did rappelling. I mean, everyone has told me different stories. And other people, they just go and they stand at the angle to get a sense of not only their own weight, that angle, but if they're going to stand there and move with that 45-degree angle and paint at the same time, that's a daunting task for some people.
Yeah. Well, for me, it was no issue.
Really? You didn't have any? You just said,
I
I'm
was
going
a
to do it?
natural.
Really?
I just did it. Yeah, I helped Ryan and Carl, and they taught me how to use the descender and the
Right,
ascender. I didn't
right,
like the ascender at all. I wasn't comfortable with that one. I actually liked the descender better. So I
right,
felt more comfortable with that. And
right,
as soon as I understood how to tie it, the knot and
right.
everything, and how to um how do you say, tighten it up,
Yeah,
and loosen it up,
right,
I got the hang of it right away. It didn't take me that long. And
right.
Cynthia was like, "Wow, you have no problems." She was
Well, you
happy
didn't
to
have
see
any
that.
fear, and sometimes overcoming the fear can be the biggest time consuming part of it all because it just gets in the way.
But I did have a moment of great fear later, though.
Really?
There was a moment when I felt like, what am I asked myself, what am I doing on this
Oh my
wall
God.
at 45 degrees? What am I doing here? I had kind of a panic attack a little bit.
Oh my God. So you had pushed it so far away that it finally came back unannounced, and you just
It
had this
did.
aha moment. Oh, am I dreaming or is this really happening right now?
But somehow I managed to keep my footing and keep
Right,
breathing, and I just focused on the river behind me, and I focused on
right,
the sky, and then I got myself off the wall to kind of,
right.
ooh, hey, that was kind of scary. All right, let's take five. So
Well, let's do this. You provided some photos because I think at this point it would be nice if we can show some of the photos and then you could give us a little bit of commentary about what it
okay,
actually is like. So I'm going to open this up
let's do it.
and share. So let's start with this very first image. You should be able to see it now.
Yes,
There's
that
three
is
people.
Tia. Yes, that is Tia Monsoon, myself, and Wyatt.
Okay.
Um,
And where are you?
so we are in front of my mural.
Okay. And where are you on the
And
levee? I can see the library glass tower in the background, in the very back
so
there.
I am okay, east of the Main Street Bridge,
Okay.
I
Okay.
believe. Yeah,
Yes.
yes.
So you're on that
And
new promenade section down there as you go towards the Grove.
yes,
Okay.
yes.
Okay. And tell us a little bit about this is the early
Uh,
part.
oh,
What
sorry,
what
wait,
did
I'm
you
actually,
propose? Oh yeah.
yeah, my mural is actually in front of the Fuel and Iron. the fuel and iron building, you could see it on the
Okay.
other
Yeah.
side. Yeah, yeah,
Well, that makes sense because there you can see the bridge going over to Mesa Junction there up above behind
right.
you. So tell us, what did you propose to the Conservancy District? What was your design? What was your concept?
So three is a sacred number, and in my mural, I'm representing three countries, Japan,
Okay.
Mexico, and the US, and as well as Colorado and New Mexico. The color palette is inspired by New Mexico, the color palette that I chose.
Hmm.
The sun, the rays around the sun are inspired by Mexico.
Hmm.
They're Aztec style rays
Okay.
around the sun.
Yeah.
The mountain range is my favorite mountain range, Spanish Peaks in Colorado. So that
Hmm.
represents Colorado. And the three stars is also, again, the number three.
Hmm.
So it's a, I know you know that it's a sacred number in Japan as well. There's a lot of
Yeah.
deep meaning behind that number.
Yes.
It would take probably another half hour to explain that, but I won't go into that. But yes, so the
Numbers are important.
stars,
Yeah.
they are. The stars represent a lot of things for me. And one thing that I had mentioned in my YouTube video that Sam Ebersol uh, produced is that the three stars represent three people that I have lost to addiction.
Mhm.
So one time I was painting out there, and some people had come by to ask me about the meaning of it, and I was explaining to them as I'm explaining to
Right.
you. And there
Hmm.
was a girl who was passing by. She was carrying a guitar and a violin, and she was passing through. I'm not sure where she was coming from or what was going on, but she happened to chime in when she heard about what I was talking about, and
Right.
we got to talking more about the stars, and that was the day that I was painting them actually. And she even offered to. She actually played the violin for me and the guitar while I was painting, and then I told her, the three stars represent three people that I've lost to addiction, and I think it just I don't know what she was going through at that point in her life, but
Right.
it really
Right.
touched her, and she cried out loud and just gave me a hug and said, "Wow, I
Wow.
mean, thank you for sharing that with me, and I'm inspired by you, and I want to I want to do one too. I had a lot of people come up to me when I was
Right.
painting down there
Well,
and ask me,
that's
how do I do this?
that is so amazing because you don't know where that girl came from or where she was going. You don't know what her daylight was before or later. But the fact that there was that moment where she stopped and it was safe, there was something kind of resonating there. That's pretty amazing, when you think about it. And then for someone to be, oh, first of all, she's got a guitar and a violin, I mean, where are those people going? Where is she going?
Right.
And then the fact that it was emotional to the point where it went into a tearful wail or whatever. That is, I mean, that's the human condition, really signaling that it needs attention, it needs love, it needs space, whatever it needs. But boy, to be carrying a guitar and a violin, I mean, God, you could go anywhere with that. You can go to church, you can go to heaven, you can go to school, you can go sit in the park. I mean, there's always a place for that. How old was she about?
She had to have been in her mid 30s,
Okay, okay.
I
So
would
she'd
say.
been part of her life journey, and here she was with a guitar and violin on her way to who knows where. But I mean, just so it's so poignant with those three stars, and it resonated because the story was something that she could empathize with, she could understand.
Right,
Wow. I
right.
mean,
And
that
it's
book,
not, yeah, it's not easy to lose people, that you care about to addiction and to watch them
right,
go through that. And
right.
you feel kind of helpless, but also it's so easy to judge them as well.
That's right.
And
That's
I
right.
think that's something that we as a society need to stop
Yeah.
doing. And
Yes.
I think if we all were united on that,
Yeah.
we could actually see some real change happen.
Homeownership is possible with a trusted partner.
It brings us a lot of joy to be able to say that this house is our own and that we've poured our hearts into making it our own.
Alyssa and Ryan are among the more than 155,000 people Chaffa has helped become homeowners since 1974. It starts with homebuyer education and connecting you with a statewide network of participating lenders. Get started at chfainfo.com/yourhome. Chaffa is an equal housing lender.
With
Yeah, I
regards
think
to
with
helping.
digital technology and social media, it has just become, and now it's driven by, numbers and algorithms and bots and AI and all of that stuff. It's really separated itself to a place where it is just constant. And because you're dealing with mental health, our bodies were never designed to actually,
Right,
swim. We don't, I mean, navigating that, half of our day is navigating noise and swirl. And that cannot be healthy for a lot of people that don't have the ability to break that down or have the
right.
opportunity to go outside or to look at a flower or people sometimes those are the divides. They don't have that ability to
Uh,
kind of pause and reboot, shall we say. It's so
yeah, and
important.
that's why I think that this project, the
Hmm.
Pueblo Levee mural project, is so important for Pueblo. I
Yeah.
feel like we need to put more spotlight on it.
Yes.
And instead of focusing so much on, oh, who got shot or
Right.
what happened over here or was there a drive-by over there?
Yeah.
I would rather see more coverage on things that is the positive stuff that's happening in
Yeah.
Pueblo. And living abroad and seeing the news that comes out of Pueblo or what they share on, Facebook,
Yeah.
I kind of get a little discouraged to
Yeah.
return, because Japan is such a peaceful country and
Yeah.
I don't ever have to lock my doors or
Right.
worry about leaving my wallet out. I mean, it'll
Right.
always just be there. Nobody will touch it.
Or it'll come
But
back to you, magically.
right,
It's
right.
amazing.
But
Yeah.
but in America, it's finders keepers,
Yeah.
and that's sad. And I think that's why I respect Japanese culture so much because of the
Mm.
omoyari.
Yeah.
Um, it's such a it's so deeply rooted in the culture, the omoyari. Sometimes I think it's too much, but
Yeah.
I would rather have it
Well,
be too much than none at all.
and
So
especially when you're in a group-oriented consensus decision-making society where everyone in general, comes together, to find a solution, or to find a pathway, that really shifts, the focus of the conversation. Plus, it requires you to listen. And that's my greatest gift from living in Japan since I was a little kid until now is just my listening skills. Because in Japan, of course, what's not said is usually the most important. And you have to be listening very carefully to what's not being said so that you can navigate to the next step. But we, on
yeah,
the other hand, are always very much about talking, talking, talking. It's kind of our individualistic kind of, you know, um,
uh,
on the
but
frontier, we're treading new ways and we're going to do this on our own. And that, it's great. I love them both, but I have to pause and I find myself, in different shoes at different times, depending upon what I'm trying to accomplish.
right, and so I think that well, and we know that omoyari means having consideration for others.
Right.
So when I was working for the Boys and Girls Club, I was the art instructor, and there was a girl. I had to pull her aside because she was just giving so much trouble to the other members. And I told her, I gave her a lecture. I told her, I taught her the word omoyari, and I said, I hope that you remember this word for the rest
Right.
of your life, because this is something that you do not have. And it's a very important thing to have, to think about the other people, that how you're affecting them. If you're bullying somebody, how does that affect them in their later life?
Mm,
And I think I got through to her. I do. Like, I felt like
mm,
after that, I saw her become more aware and kind of stepping back a little bit from the way she was before.
mm.
And she had a hard home life. She didn't have
Right.
a home. She was living in
Right.
hotels.
Right.
And, I don't think both parents were in the picture. Maybe it was just the
Hmm.
mother, if I remember
Right.
correctly. But, the mother was a mess. She
Mm.
was basically raising herself pretty much.
Yeah.
And um, I think that's a very important thing for people in the US to have, is more consideration for others.
Yeah.
And even when I do, like when I do substitute for District
Mhm.
60 sometimes when I go back.
Mhm. Right.
And if I get a class that's really badly behaved, I will just, say, okay, I'm going to teach you a Japanese word. And
Right.
then I get their attention.
Right.
Omoyari. What does
Right.
it mean? Okay, so then I give
Right.
them examples, and then I ask them to give me examples. And then
Right.
also, when it comes to giving them permission to go to the restroom, they can only go one at a time. So I tell them, okay, please have a moyari for your classmate that's waiting, because you need to be, go in, do your business, and come back.
Right.
Don't be
Right.
out there in the hallways, and so if they do that, I call them out on it.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, and it's interesting is when you see these situations, again, I never, you never know where someone has been, what kind of experience that they have in the morning, what kind of family life do they have. But because there is so much judgment, there's so much, finger pointing, and kids can be really mean. I mean, that's just growing up,
Oh
it's
yeah.
being a kid. But at the end of the day, you just don't know what you don't know. And this girl that you were with the Boys and Girls Club, she probably did, she was just getting through the day. And that was a great thing for her.
Hmm.
Manners and, all of that stuff just hadn't been built in because they didn't have the luxury to actually, put that front and center. And that is so painful, when you see it, because, you can be all over the world and you'll meet certain young people. And, as soon as they start talking, or as soon as can understand the vocabulary and the language that they're using, if you listen very, very carefully, there will be these little signals, these little triggers that will kind of indicate to what extent, have they reached out beyond themselves. Because
Right.
kids are so fragile, but they're also really gritty and resilient. And Angela Duckworth, a great researcher, does the grit test, and she was an educator in South Chicago, and she was just so amazed at how there were these certain kids. Didn't matter. I mean, income had nothing to do with it. IQ had nothing to do with it. I mean, she went through all of these criteria, and these kids just survived, and she wanted to know why. And so she created the grit test, and you can go to her website. It's an amazing, amazing wealth of information and exercises. But it really does point to, what is so essential for those few kids that just have that twinkle in their eye, regardless of how bad their situation is. They
Hmm.
know that there is opportunity at some point in time, and they're patient. I mean, they're probably not patient, but they're taking
Right.
it, as best as they can. But I use her research in a lot of the stuff that I do with young people, because there are certain kids that just get it. And then I say, are they multi-generational, intergenerational? Are there, grandma and grandpa living with them, or do they have a grandma and grandpa? There are all these really interesting, you know, um, relationships that can really help with, building personality, building confidence, building just, determination, and ultimately, going in the direction that you want to go. So, but I agree with you. The Levee mural is truly a statement. The fact that we're doing it again is pretty amazing. And the
It
one thing
is.
that, to give our listeners some context, what's really fascinating about Pueblo in the early 1970s is you had this movement by Pat Kelly and by, and now I'm totally drawing a blank, Kathy Farley. Those two women came up with this concept of building a campus for the arts, serving 13 counties, which is the Sangre de Cristo Arts and Conference Center. So that was happening very formally, kind of like the country club for the arts. It was very formal. It was for certain, you know, I mean, there were some barriers to entry. It was not, freely accessible to everyone, because those of lesser means really never felt, comfortable, coming. The shows either weren't tailored for that. But what's really fascinating is at the same time, the very first, the goldfish was painted. It was kind of a guerrilla movement on the levee, and someone painted the goldfish. And then I think it was the next day that they painted the goldfish bowl around it. So what started as this rogue kind of gangster guerrilla movement in the middle of the night with people running as the police were coming, that was a parallel, art movement in Pueblo, one representing the very formal, color within the lines. And then the other was this levee mural, which is so not typical when you
Mhm.
look at formal, even just graffiti and tagging and murals. They all, I think, are what Pueblo, is just so exceptional. It's
It
self-discovery,
is. It has
it's
a great
storytelling, it's all of
community.
that. So, but I do love letting people know that in the early 70s, Pueblo had these two highways parallel, and you could go to the fine arts pavilions and everything at the art center, or you could just go hang out on the levee, the old levee, and you could see art in progress. I just love that notion.
Yeah, it is pretty awesome. And I'm really appreciative to Tia Monson and Wyatt
Right.
um, for helping me with the primer and the base coat and the primer. If it weren't for them,
I'm
I
going to
wouldn't have been able
switch
to
to,
get to the
oops,
next.
let me
Yeah.
go back to the next. So there you go.
Okay.
There you guys
Yeah,
are.
there we are. We're right there. That's
Right.
the second day that we worked together. And the first day we had 5 people on the wall, and that was the day where I was kind of nervous because I didn't know what I was really doing. But once I watched everybody, and Tia and Wyatt just were so calm,
Right.
calming for me.
They're like camp
They're
counselors,
so calming.
camp counselors.
Yeah.
They've been
So
doing it for years.
right, right,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm very thankful to Cynthia Ramo for encouraging me to submit design, and she has also become a really good friend, and I'm really
Mm-hmm.
grateful for all the memories that I have from the mural.
I'm going to go to the next
One
one, which just,
Okay, yeah, this
yeah,
one.
I'm just showing you this next slide here.
So we
Beautiful
got to
sunset.
beautiful, yeah, beautiful sunsets, some sunrises, lots of nature. It's just a beautiful place to be. I especially like the early morning, actually. That's probably my favorite
Mm-hmm.
time. It was before everybody was
Yeah.
awake. There was no noise, too much noise going on. It was kind of quiet. You could hear the
Right.
birds, you could hear the river. But the sunset is also good time too. Just time to finish, time to go home. you make your way out
Right.
and say goodbye to my friend, the Osprey
Your
family,
nature friends. Yeah, they're your fans.
my nature friends.
Yeah. Well, and we
um,
should probably, this is a really good image to look at. But for those that are listening and don't understand, well, why is there a second Levee mural project? After the Katrina hurricane that pretty much devastated much of New Orleans, the federal government demanded inspections of every single dam, levee, and other waterways all throughout the United States. And when they finished doing the reports for the Pueblo levee, they realized, and they had seen, um, problems with the concrete and such over the years. But if you think about it, in 1921, when the Great Flood hit, everything was just, they were looking for everything that they could fill as infill. And when they did that, of course, there's a lot of stuff. It's not just like all dirt. There's a lot of other stuff in there that can compromise the integrity of that foundational wall. So that was contributing to cracks. There were a lot of other things. So that demanded the destruction of the old levee. But since we have the Lake Pueblo now and we have the dam, the reservoir, we don't have the serious flood problems that we did before, because Pueblo always had flood problems, because now they can control that. So this allowed for the levee to drop 10 feet shorter. And then that meant that we have a wide promenade on top of it. So it's pretty amazing. Pretty amazing.
it is. It is amazing.
So let me just go here. We've got some more. And there is your friend.
There's Cynthia Rameau.
Yes.
She's amazing. She's an amazing person. I don't know how she does
She is
it.
truly the ambassador,
Yes,
I mean,
she
she is
is.
really the one. Yeah.
She's the one that has made it happen.
Yep.
So,
I love
yeah.
this
And then this next
perspective.
one,
It really gives the viewer a sense of what it's like at that 45-degree angle.
yeah, it's
You look
some
way down
people.
there.
Oh yeah, I'm very near the water's edge on that one. But I started to like being on the edge. I like living on the edge. I said that in my YouTube video too. I like living on the edge. It's a good place to be.
The fringe has always been interesting. I love
Hmm.
this photo.
Yeah, great teamwork. Mm, It
And
makes a
here's
big
more of a
difference when
close
you
up.
have people to work with. Oh
Right,
yeah, that
right.
one. Yeah, close up
I mean,
shot.
it's really deceiving because here you are at the top looking down
Mhm.
and everything kind of flattens out. You would have no
Yeah.
idea, that was 45 degrees, but you went, why is that woman tethered onto that wall? I mean, it's really interesting when you start seeing, and then you realize, damn, they're painting that at 45 degrees.
Yeah.
Oh, and here we go. Here are your other neighbors.
Yep. Those are the ospreys. So we were lucky enough to witness them hunting in front of my mural one evening. They would dive, they would fly really high, and then they would dive. They did it a couple times, and they finally got a fish. That was a cool thing to witness. Wyatt and Tia were with me for that. And I think my parents showed up later. They missed that part, but okay, so
Well,
on
and
the
it's a
next
big
one.
nest. Yeah, it's
Yeah,
a
it
big
is.
nest. So what
It's a
is
huge
this big
nest.
orange spot on the asphalt?
Okay, well, this is what I call a happy accident. Well, a little boo-boo. It was not one of my finest moments. So anyway, I opened the hatch to the car to I wanted to take out the orange paint to give to Cynthia,
Right.
but instead the orange paint decided it fell out, and it opened up, and next thing I knew, there was paint all over the asphalt. So I panicked and I started
And your
scooping it.
shoes.
Yeah, and it got on my shoes too. And I started scooping it into the paint can. Then
Right.
Cynthia came out. Oh my gosh. And so she grabbed some pizza boxes and started scooping it with pizza boxes. And we
Right.
managed to get all the paint,
Right.
well, not all of it, but except for the paint that, was permanent. And so she got a roller and she started making it into the shape of a circle and said, okay, well, let's do a
Right.
sun out of this then. So I said, I'm so sorry, Cynthia. She's like, oh no, it's nothing. It's not the first time this has happened. There's other
Right.
art on the
But you
street here.
clearly,
So
she being an educator, she's probably dealt with lots of spilt paint before. And then this one is another one. This gives you a good sense of, there you have the bridge going over, and you've got the Arkansas River, you've got the promenade, and you can see the G.H. Knuckles, the George Harvey Knuckles suspension bridge in the
yeah,
background.
yes, it's a nice picture of
And
Tonio
who
and
is
I.
that with you on the levee for that day?
This is Tonio Lefebvre. He is
Yeah.
also a muralist and
Hmm.
an artist. He painted a mural on the levee, I think back in 2022, I think it was. It was when I wasn't there, or maybe it was 2023 he painted that. But he came to help me one day, and I really appreciated him for that. And he kind of
Mm.
showed me some of his tricks, that he
Right.
does. And
Right.
it was good to learn from each person. Like everybody had a different way to do something. So
Right.
I just kind of like learned from everybody, and then I kind of took out the pieces that I liked, and then I kind of like
Right.
developed my own little way.
Hmm.
So everybody's different, and what works for me may not work for someone else.
Hmm.
It's just you just have to get used to it, and once you
Right.
get your footing, once you feel okay,
Right.
I'm not worried anymore. I can do this, and it just becomes a lot easier as time goes by.
It's really, I'm hoping that out of this process, I was just thinking of this as you were talking about, getting all of these tips and ideas and, all of these things that other, creatives and artists have found when they were on the levee. It'd be really fun if I remember, and I can't remember the full title, but it was a very kind of gangster guerrilla zine format, but it was reflections about all of these wise words, and so it was like a handbook guide to you know exploring the galaxies. You talk to all of these individuals, and they're going to share with you their few nuggets. But it was really fun to see if that thread of all the artists, all the quotes or the emotions, or I mean, it could be haiku, it could be poetry, it could be in all different formats. But just this little guide that really shares the spirit of all of the individual artists who actually made this massive, infrastructure. This is a safety, engineering program for the city of
Hmm.
Pueblo. This keeps us safe, yet at the same
Yeah,
time, it has become a canvas.
it has. It has.
And here's another one. That's fun with the rays coming down.
That one was kind of magical. I like this one. It has a good spirit.
And then you can see in the background underneath the bridge, you can see remnants of some of the earlier works that were not destroyed during the reduction of the levee. I just noticed that in the background there.
Hmm.
It's like a
Right.
quilt of little images up there.
It's a good one.
This looks like a happy day.
It was.
I
Yeah,
want
he
that
always.
overall outfit that Wyatt had. That's so cool.
Oh yeah, he always had cool outfits on. He
I
would
like the
always come up
cannabis
on his.
pants.
Yeah, he was always coming up on his skateboard, and I could hear him from the bridge. Yeah, he
Right,
would always say that, and it would just remind me of surfing. We would say that when we were riding the wave.
right,
You.
right. Yeah.
So it gave me good vibration, and it was really fun to work with him.
Hmm.
He brought fun energy into the mix and kept it positive. So I really appreciate him for that. And Chia too, she was just absolutely phenomenal. The tips that she gave, she has so much knowledge,
Right.
and she just is an amazing person.
Yeah.
Everybody that I met through this mural, there's so many people. My friend Eva, she's going to be painting one soon. She's starting here soon. I think next week. Her last name's Fata, Eva Fata.
Yeah.
She was, she came and helped me a couple times, and I really, she had a hard time at first to get her feeding, but I think she's doing
Mhm.
pretty good now, and I'm proud of her.
That's great. Well,
I'm really proud of her.
it's really helpful to have people, say, for example, like Wyatt, that have kind of been
Hmm.
through the process. They understand it.
Hmm.
They know what you're kind of
Right.
going through, or they may not, but they know that you're questioning, your abilities and what have you. So I mean,
Right.
it's almost like it's like this it's like this exclusive club of people. Every time someone else completes, one of the murals on the levee, they become part of this greater consciousness of artists who are really putting together, in storyboard fashion, but it's on concrete,
Hmm.
images, you've got I mean, everything from music to history to culture to arts. I mean, flora, fauna, animals, you name it, all the high schools and schools
Yeah.
everywhere. So it really is a tapestry. And, Wyatt and the others who really take the lead to make sure, that you feel safe, that you feel comfortable. Because
Right.
it's one thing to get on that thing, but then for the art to actually look right and to make sense, I mean, that would scare me to death because I would always think, oh,
Right.
it's going to look like hell from the other side.
Oh, and I'm a perfectionist, so yeah. There was a few times when Wyatt came in and said, you're fine. You're fine. You're over. Don't worry about it. It looks great on the other
Right.
side. Don't worry about it. Don't." And Tia too, she, they saw me struggling with that. Like, Miranda, what are you doing? You're good. Your prime's done. It's enough. You put enough
Move on.
layers.
Move on. You don't have to be a perfectionist with the primer. Just cover it and you're done.
Right, right.
Mm,
But yeah, that's one of my downfalls, I guess, is that the fact that I am a perfectionist. So I
mm.
have to let go of that. But I did, and other people that helped you, Amy Ackley Sachs,
Yeah.
she came in and
Yeah.
helped me one day too, even though she struggled that day too, though, because she was getting over her fear because she had had a scare in a previous project. So,
Right.
but I was really proud of her because you know, just came through, and she did really, she didn't have to come help me, but she, overlooked her own fear to come help me. And
Right.
so I really appreciate her for that too. And she also hosted a really wonderful farewell party for me as well.
Yes.
And
Which
I
I
got
wrote
to,
about. I loved it. That was a
yes,
wonderful
yeah,
occasion.
it was a
Um,
wonderful evening.
yes. It was a
And
real
I'm looking forward
celebration.
to, hmm I'm looking
She
forward
does
to
a
more in the
lot.
future.
Yeah. And there's something about, I guess the word I was looking for earlier was this notion of fellowship, in just a spiritual way, because you're all coming from different places. And I mean, just the stories that happen along the way. I still can't get this woman with a guitar and a violin. It's like she's going from one universe to the other, and there she is. She dropped in
Right. And
at that
and
moment.
actually,
I mean, little things
she,
like that are so, I mean, those are the threads that
and
really
actually,
help you.
she's not
Yeah.
the only musician that stopped and played for
Wow.
me. I had other people come in. I had a medicine man. Um, he came. He's a friend of mine. I've known him for over 20 years.
Right.
His name is Macario Martinez,
Hmm.
and he came and he brought the ceremonial drum and he played while I was on the wall. And
Wow.
also Zachary Taylor came a couple times and did some
Yeah.
drumming. The drumming brought a different element to it. Like I felt like more connected and more grounded when they were playing.
Yeah.
Like everything
It's
just
like
kind of
it's like a
came together
heartbeat.
for me.
Yeah, it's like a heart.
Hmm.
I mean, even if you're not consciously paying attention to every single note, there is this stable rhythm, that is so just I mean, since the beginning of time, when we realized we could bang things together and make noise, we decided, well, let's do this in harmony, or let's get some rhythm going. I mean, that's where I mean, I just love drums, and you get under
Me
bridges or you can
too.
be out in parks, but it's pretty powerful, pretty powerful.
Yeah, it is very powerful. So I appreciated all the musicians that came, and the people that stopped by, the people that just the passerbyers. They
Did
were
you have a guest
all.
book? Did you have a guest book?
I didn't think about that. I should
I was
have, but
just
no,
thinking about it right now.
yeah,
It'd be really fun to just get
that is a good idea.
who witnessed you at
Yeah.
this time.
Well, maybe for the next mural, I'll do a guest book then.
I think that'd be really cool. You could do that. Put a little stand, like, you put the Bible on those stands, at the front of the church, the
Mm-hmm.
altar. You could put a
Mm-hmm.
little,
Like a podium. Uh-huh.
like a podium, yeah, and it has people can do it with chalk, with colored pencils, with ink, whatever. You can let them do a little. It's almost like the Japanese scroll paintings, when you actually look at those and you unfold them, or you tell a story and you roll it out because it keeps going and going and going. So
Mm-hmm.
kind of like
Mm-hmm.
the levee does.
Right.
um so we're just about out of time. Can't believe how
Yes.
much time flies
I
by.
know.
So tell us a little bit about, so when I know you just returned to Japan. When will you be coming back? What should we look out for? What are you doing in terms of your work, exhibitions and things of that sort?
Okay, well, right now I'm working on updating my website and
Okay.
creating new inventory. So I don't have any exhibitions planned right now,
Okay.
but I will be staying in Japan for until I plan to go back to Colorado in November of 2026.
Okay.
So I'll be here for a little over a year in Japan.
Okay.
And I'm just gonna let things come as they
Okay.
come. I'm just gonna go with the flow. And in the meantime, I'm creating a lot of new work. Going back to Colorado did me a lot of good. It put me in the right direction. So I came home and organized everything. I'm in the process of organizing, I guess you could say.
Yeah. Well, it makes
And
sense. It's kind of nice
yeah,
to know
I'm kind
where
of
everything is.
rethinking everything, and I kind of want to switch to other mediums as well. Like I'm
Hmm. Right.
painting on leather and watercolor. So that's more or less what I'm doing right now. And I haven't really been
Okay.
sharing my art lately, but I think I need to. I just have been kind of busy, so I
Well,
plan to share.
you'll know when
Right.
the right time is to share that.
Hmm.
And what we'll do for our listeners is in the description for this podcast, we'll provide some extra links so we can provide your website. You said you're updating that. We'll make sure that that's in there, and any other,
Yes.
social media or anything else that you want to provide. That way, it'll go to all of the hosting sites. So whether you get your podcasts on iTunes or Spotify, wherever you get them, that information will be fed to those servers. So, but this has been exciting because one, we're
They
doing it
have.
from Japan and Colorado,
Uh-huh.
and it's video too. So this is the first time. I'm going to stop sharing now, and then. Um, what do you want to wish all of your Pueblo friends and family and fellow, artists? Last words. You get the last word here.
I get the last words, huh? Well, I'm about it's about midnight for me almost,
I
so I'm
know
kind of
it's end
anyway,
of your
but
day. Yeah.
I want to say thank you to everybody, my friends and family, and my fellow artists for helping me with this project. Appreciate each and every one of you. And I also want to give a shout out to Chris Harbor at the DNS Paint.
Yeah.
He was wonderful to work with as well. And yeah, I guess I want to say I hope you guys have a good rest of the year. See you in 2026.
Sounds great. Well, this has been a really fun episode of Voices of Pueblo. This is 45 degrees, which, if you don't know Pueblo, 45 degrees means that these are the artists that are actually painting murals at a 45-degree angle on the Pueblo Levee. And Miranda here has finished, well, more than one, but she's back in Japan. She's got the experience, and she'll be back next November. So we look forward to that. And if you need to find any other information about the Pueblo Star Journal, you can always go to our website, which is pueblostarjournal.org, and you'll find all of our social media. You'll find all of the different links and resources. And then we're a nonprofit. There are no paywalls, but it's not free to make, but it's free to everyone else. So we always encourage people to make a donation or support us in any way that they can, because trusted local news is really more important now than ever before. So I want to thank you again, Miranda. And
thank you, Gregory.
Thank you, Pueblo Star Journal audiences. This has been another edition of Voices of Pueblo. Thank you.
Thank you, Pueblo.
Receiving down payment assistance from CHAFA allowed us to expand our options for what kind of houses we were looking at.
CHAFA is Colorado's trusted partner for homeownership. Visit chfainfo.com/yourhome. CHAFA is an equal housing lender.